Side, just north of the Queensboro Bridge, the Ed Koch. This is Dangerfield's Comedy Club, 61st and 1st. I just did the open mic here. Hosted, there was like 4 people from Ohio University. I went there for a year. The dude who was hosting was wearing an Ohio shirt. What is with the Ohio University to stand-up comedy pipeline? Is this Keith Newman's fault? Keith Newman, I blame you for inspiring all these. Stand-up comedy is the poetry of fascism, I've decided. It's the poetry of fascism. Should I go over to the fucking Esplanade over there? Alright, so, yeah, we're doing a little Friday night. I mean, walk through Central Park, Upper East Side. I'm going to walk from here to 109th Street. So hopefully we get some nice... Hey now. Yeah, I just did Dangerfield's Comedy Club. Well, it's called Rodney's. I think their rebrand was a big downgrade, to be honest. I'm not a fan of the Dangerfield's rebrand. I think they should have left it. Now it's like a jazz age lawn party restaurant. You know, it's like, it's kind of giving Coastal Grandmother, or I don't know, it's like Rodney's, and then they've got that classic microphone on it. It's like, what? You know, you can't buy this kind of shit. You know, you can't buy that kind of brand, legendary kind of patina. You know, where it's like, this place literally was started by Rodney fucking Dangerfield in whatever, I don't even know, probably the 60s maybe, 50s or 60s. Such a crazy location. I want to go to the New York where this was like the most happening part of town. Oh, I see. They didn't get the rights. I see. Okay. So it's new owners, and they had to change the name. So they could call it Rodney. Because of, they should have just called it Rodney. It was a good room, though. I mean, it's like all these fucking comedy rooms, but you could feel, I don't know, you could feel the Sam Kinison cocaine power in that room. You could feel the dice. You could just feel the fun in the raucous kind of fun that they've had in that room. It's dank, it's dingy, it's dark, it smells, it's musky. It's like a fucking basement in there. Even though I just had to do it. I've been wanting, because it's a legendary place. I saw on New York City Comedy Open Mic group on Facebook. They were doing an open mic there at 5 p.m. It's $2 plus you had to buy 1 drink. So I paid $5 for a fucking bottle of water. But, I thought I rocked. I thought I really did great, but nobody laughed at all. They started screaming at the audience how they didn't know what funny was. They don't know what the hell funny is. You people don't know funny. The guy before me, most everybody bombed. It was a lot like the Gong Show, where it was like, there was just weird people from Florida. I don't know what all these fucking tourists, frat boys from Florida, I guess they're here on vacation. But there was there was a small audience of people who were not there to perform. They were just there. I think one of their friends was doing it. I think it was the first time he'd ever done stand-up comedy or even been on stage or anything. So I don't know. It's just like the Gong Show was the same thing. There was just this core group of people from fucking Florida, from Central Florida, Tampa or fucking Jacksonville. The guy said he went to FSU or something. Seminoles. He said, go Noles. So there was a lot of college sports energy in the room. OU, Seminoles, all that shit. And the guy before me he kind of just did talking. I don't even know what the fuck he was talking about. He was talking about how you wouldn't even believe the thoughts in his brain. If you could hear the thoughts in his brain, you wouldn't even fucking believe them. So I'm like, oh, this is perfect. This is the perfect setup guy for me. This, it happens to me at practically every fucking stand-up comedy open mic I go to. But usually the person who goes after me or the host gets up and says something about how I'm weird or crazy. Wow, you never know what the hell. The guy at this open mic went up after me and he was like, whoa, We knew we were gonna get some weird people out here, but it's like, that's pretty, I hate that they do that. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about, I do want to talk about that. I just hate that. I hate that they always throw you under the bus. You know, like right after you're done. It's like, this is a common reaction I get. I must be completely insane, you know, because people do tell me pretty regularly that I'm crazy. So that's not good. Okay, so I do want to talk about Uncalculated Comedy, the hot new comedy show at Fear City fucking Comedy Club in Dime Square. Great location. It's right across from Seward Park. Is it the guy with the tattoos and shit? Is that the guy that owns it? He was the MC. I liked his MCing vibe. He seemed like he was in Fugazi or something. It felt like Ian MacKaye, like, you know, owning a comedy club. But the craziest part of the night for me was I ran into this chick who I wouldn't say I dated her. We did not really date. We kind of, you know, it was like a summer fling, I guess. She worked at Abercrombie, which all the fucking people like Abercrombie were like Nazis, basically. They are all into eugenics. They're all super good looking, and they just were sort of like chosen because they're like Stepford people. She was from California. They were all, you know, every once in a while you'd go into a bar in Columbus and there'd be all these fucking hot people who looked like they were on Saved by the Bell or something. You're like, what's going on there? They're like behind this velvet rope. You're like, what is that room? I want to be in that room. It's like, oh, it's Abercrombie. It's a private Abercrombie fucking party. And so I would see this girl at concerts. I saw her at Gnarls Barkley. My brother brought me a ticket to see Gnarls Barkley, so we went and saw Gnarls Barkley at the Newport Music Hall in 2007 or 8. And this chick was there. She was wearing a red and white like sailor shirt. And I hit on her, you know, which for the time was like rare. I really did not hit on people that often. I was scared, you know, but she was so hot that I was just like, she tried to get in front of us. You know, she tried to like sort of flirtatiously, but like detached, just like sort of, you know, we're stupid guys. Of course we'll let her go in front of us, you know, like, you know, she didn't, so I hit on her like a few times. I would see her around Columbus and I would say hi or whatever. And she would always just like blow me off. No reaction whatsoever. She's an Abercrombie person, you know. But then I was in The Tempest, a Shakespeare play outdoor, and I got a couple reviews in the local paper that said I was good looking. So that changed her mind. She started to pursue me. And she had this amazing apartment in the Greystone building. There was like this fountain out the window. And we'd go over to her house, and it was hot summer, you know, hangover, late nights, early mornings, physical, whatever. So anyway, I'm going to the bathroom at fucking, she's lived in New York about the same time. This was like 15 years ago. This is like 2008. And she's lived in New York about the same time that I've lived in New York. But I've never contacted her with, you know, there's like almost an unspoken thing that just like, I don't want to talk to anybody who I knew in Columbus. Oh, fuck. I should be going to Central Park. Well, I'm never on First Avenue, so I kind of want to walk down First Avenue a little bit. A lot of people work for Abercrombie because they'd bring you into Columbus, you'd make 6 figures, your rent is super cheap, you're working with all these hot people, and then after a couple years, you can transfer to New York. She worked for Victoria's Secret, actually. She started out working for Abercrombie, then she transferred to like Victoria's Secret. I think she did swimwear. And then you could transfer to New York. You know, it was very hard to get to New York, actually. For a lot of people, it's not easy to get here. You know, even for somebody like that, it's just like she saved all her money in Columbus and she came here with a job where she was like making money. And so I think she lived on the Lower East Side, and I never heard anything from her. She messaged me when the Slooge thing was happening. And she was like, what's the Slooge? Should I come to the Slooge? Because that was like, had a little bit of a buzz. And then I was checking my fucking Instagram, I don't know, a year ago or something. I saw that she unfollowed me. So I'm like, that really pissed me off. Women that you hooked up with like once, like 15 years ago, they unfollow you. They don't want to follow you. They don't want to have anything to do with you. They're probably smart because of that. But so I'm coming out of the fucking bathroom of the Uncalculated Comedy, and there she is, right there in fucking Dime Square Comedy Club of all fucking... I think she was trying to get with the owner guy. That was the vibe that I got. I don't think she was just there to see comedy, but she never came to any of my fucking shows. She was there with like all her hot friends. She always had these hot like Abercrombie friends and shit that were like super cool. They all went to boarding school. They're all better than us. And they act like it. They know it. So anyway, yeah, I thought it was a very well-run show. I thought the audience really understood. You know, nobody bombed. You know, the back and forth with the laughter was like... That's the hard part about a comedy show, I feel like, is setting up that kind of protocol where it's like... It's almost like tennis or ping pong, where it's like the comedian hits it to them, they hit it back. And if you don't have that, your show just goes down the toilet. You know, no fucking comedy open mics have that. There's no back and forth at all. The audience is just dead. So, yeah, I thought it was well done. I mean, to be honest, I thought Ben Callahan had probably one of the best sets, if not the best set. Really. I thought his jokes were funny, and he had a character that I thought, you know, was relatable. That's like the hard part, I think, as a comedian, is like finding, and that's kind of what you're there to do. You're there to like tell some story about who you are and what your life is like. And so, you know, the character is such a huge part of that. You're trying to bring that character and show it to people on stage. And so, you know, having this sort of neurotic character that's self-conscious, self-doubt, you know, that's very funny. It's kind of an archetype, Irish neurotic. I mean, it's crazy to me that there's like this scene of all these open mics that nobody goes to. Everybody hates comedians. And then these shows are like pretty full of people paying money to fucking see them. So it's like you did a good job with the freaking promotion and stuff. I mean, I never have that kind of buy-in from an audience. You know, you'd think with the open mic I could draw people out, like this show next Sunday. I'm trying to put promos out for it now, even though it's only a week in advance. That's how slow I am. I'm usually way slower. But, you know, even with the promos and shit, maybe it's because I make shitty flyers. It's like I don't really get buy-in from people, where it's like I probably will struggle to get 20 people to come out to this. And they'll probably all want to perform. You know, it's like I don't really have an audience. You know, and then I go to these shows, and I'm like, who is in the audience? What is this girl that I hooked up with 15 years ago doing in this fucking comedy show, of all places? You know, it's like, is she interested in this? Like, she's just trying to fuck the guy that owns the place because he's 6 feet tall and has a neck tattoo, and he looks like fucking he's in Fugazi. He's running like this straight edge hipster comedy club in Dime Square. You know, I wish that I saw more like art comedy. You know, I wish people had more interesting characters that they're portraying, or worldview. You know, like I'm not really that impressed with very much comedy stuff. And so, you know, it's impressive to go to a show that actually works, where people are like enthusiastic and they're responding. And, They paid money, and they, you know, the thing held together the whole time. It's like the bottom never fell out. Nobody went up and shit the bed. So I don't know. It's like I thought that this girl would probably like we'd have some kind of perfunctory kind of like 30-second conversation about, hey, how you doing? How is everything? How's your life? How's, you know, the last 15 years been? Or fucking, you know, you're in New York. What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. But that didn't happen. She, you know, she just avoided me, which is fine. And so I just thought, okay, well, I should probably not try to initiate conversation. What's the point? I honestly got afraid because I was like, it kind of was a moment that kind of put, you know, like right now I'm kind of having this midlife crisis. This is like the last summer of my youth. You know, I'm 39. It's the last summer of my 30s. The summer's kind of slipping away. It's almost over. The cold air is kind of creeping in. So I'm kind of having this moment where it's like, what the fuck am I doing? It's been 15 years and what? So this girl, seeing this girl kind of crystallized that for me. Where I'm like, it's been 15 years and I literally have nothing to tell this. You know, like what am I going to tell her? That's like, you know, so I did just want to avoid the conversation because I'm like, I don't have anything to tell this girl that's going to, like, she's some designer. She's got like 10,000 Instagram followers. She makes these fucking handbags. You know, she's like Kate Spade or something. She's going to Paris Fashion Week and, you know, fucking models are wearing her handbags in Milan and shit. And, you know, I can barely host an open mic without it just becoming this sort of ego narcissist, you know, drama fest. And so I was just like, you know, I just kind of wanted to avoid the conversation because I'm like, what? It just kind of put it in perspective. Like, oh my God, I don't have any, it would be like going to a high school reunion or something. You know, like I don't have anything to tell this person. I've been in New York, you know, almost 15 years. What the fuck do I have to show for it? You know, even this fucking guy at Rodney's Comedy Club, you know, he had an OU shirt on. So I was like, oh, I went to OU. When did you graduate? He's like 2020. You know, I would have graduated OU in like 07, I think. And this guy's hosting an open mic at Rodney's Comedy Club. So it's like, you can get places in the city fast if you know what you're doing and you're motivated. I don't know what the fuck I've been doing for 15 years. I guess I've been trying to be an artist. And I just thought somebody might notice. But, yeah, it was a nice evening out. You know, I think that's probably about as good as something like that could go, really. You know, it is frustrating seeing, you know, like I was saying, I do feel like comedy is kind of the poetry of fascism or something, where it's like, it's crazy how many stand-up comedians talk about how they like Trump. Or how they're, you know, one thing that I did want to mention that is really annoying to me is I've noticed a lot of people recently calling Trump the president. He's not the president. He was the president. He's not the president anymore. He is a former president. Okay, love you, Ashley. We'll see you soon. I'm working my way up there, as you can see. So yeah, I've heard people like Tim Dillon, a lot of those, like a lot of comedians. I just saw a comedian at Rodney's during his set. He's like, the president got shot this summer. It's like, he's not the fucking president, okay? The president did not get shot. Joseph Biden did not get shot. The former reality show host got shot. And he didn't even really get shot. He got shot at. You know, I think that people are like having this kind of like coming out moment where they're coming out as being pro-Trump, I think that the assassination attempt did have like a weird unconscious effect on people, where it's like, having a near-death experience. I think this is one of the reasons why he's not fake tanning anymore. If people have noticed, Trump is no longer orange. He's stopped using his fake tanner. And I guess, like, kind of the energy, he's low energy. The energy has kind of gone out of his campaign. I heard, who was it? A$AP Rocky, some rap guy was like, Trump doesn't want to do it anymore. He's done. He wants to go home. He doesn't want to be there. He's afraid, And, I think everybody in his constituency is kind of going through a similar, I don't know. I don't even think he understands what he's going through, because somebody shot at him. That's something that, like, changes you in a way that you don't even really understand. It's like you could be clinically depressed. So it was an interesting night. I'm glad I went. That's one thing that I want to do more, is just like go out and support things. I would go to everything if it was free. If I could get in for free, I would go to way more stuff. So I appreciate being put on the list. It's a cool ass venue, that's for sure. It's just fucking nuts to me how many goddamn stand-up comedians there are. There's just so fucking many of them, and they're just, it is like this secret right-wing poetry or something. It's like, it's all white guys. They're all, like Fox News fucking children or something. They're all gut field. Okay, what else? So yeah, I just did my 5 minutes at Rodney's. It went pretty well, actually. Not that my comedy sets ever fucking go that well. I mean, nobody laughed. That's not really what I judge it by. It's like, what, I'm gonna make a bunch of idiots from fucking Florida State University laugh? Like, I was not getting anything from those people. They were giving me nothing. And so I'm just like, I can't help it that... And then the host went up and said I was weird. It's like, I guess I'm just a fucking psycho, and... Alright, what the hell else do I need to talk about? Yeah, to be honest, people want that kind of experience. They don't seem to want, like, an eccentric, colorful, when they go to stand-up comedy shows, it's like, the one woman who was, a guy did a joke in the audience that was, like, sort of racist, I guess. She was doing crowd work. So what do you expect? It always reveals the ugly side of the New York audience. New York is full of rich people that are just have no class. It's full of shitty rich people. So everybody in the audience sucks. So are they really gonna laugh at you? Like, they're idiots. They're all making money off of fucking finance or military industrial complex or whatever. Palantir, some company named after Lord of the Rings. Even Peter Thiel, this guy's a fucking idiot. Especially him. All these interviews and shit are kind of revealing this. But this guy, she was Indian, I think, or, she was from the Indian subcontinent. And she said something to one of the guys in the front, and he goes, ding, 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 ding. And she made her whole set about this. She went, whoa, wait a minute, that was really fucked up. And she made her whole set about dressing this guy down. That's fucked up that you would say that. This guy's a piece of shit. Every single joke she made from that point on was like going after this guy, self-righteous. This guy sucks. It's like, maybe what he did was racist, I guess. In our modern world where people are hyper weaponized to their sensitivity of that. You know, all you have to do is say that. It just made everybody uncomfortable. It's just like, you know, we're trying to enjoy this show, and you want to make your whole fucking set being about, you know, making this guy feel like shit. It's like, just move on. You know, why is it the comedian's job? Maybe that is the comedian's job. Like, it's just weird how much of this comedy culture is full of like bad energy. It's like the host is gonna make fun of you. The comedian's gonna attack you in the audience if you say the wrong thing and humiliate you. It's like, who the fuck would want to go to that show? I don't want to go to some show where they're gonna like, you know, single me out and fucking roast me in front of everybody. But, you know, we're seeing a time, I think, where people are kind of coming out of that. You know, you don't just get total impunity if you're marginalized or if you're a social justice warrior. You don't just have total impunity to just point the finger at people and everybody's on your side and everybody's just, oh yeah, we don't want to be racist. We hate that guy. I think he was Australian or something. Or he was like maybe European. Oh, there's some kind of reggae or something going on over here. But I don't know. I don't really see, especially with stand-up comedy, I don't see anybody doing anything that interesting. You know, there's a few people, and they're more probably on the kind of performance art side of things. And there's definitely people that I think are funny. But it's like, you know, your job as a stand-up comedian, I think, is bigger than that. You know, it's like everybody gets focused on these jokes, but it's like you're a storyteller. You know? And so you've got to figure out, the jokes are like the story. You know, the jokes are like beat by beat. You know, telling people who you are, and that's the way that you comment on. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I just want stage time, or I don't know. I mean, I want it to be something other than what it is. You know, I like this idea, like, I don't know if people have been seeing this pop up on TikTok or whatever, but Jason Bateman and Will Arnett just did this show at the Talk House, which is in Amagansett, which I don't know if it's like a podcast dedicated venue, but I love the idea of there being like a talk house. You know, like, I wish that stand-up comedy clubs would just be replaced with talk houses, you know, places where people can go to have public conversation, public speech, public oratory, lecturing, pontificating, like live streaming, basically, but doing it live. You know, doing it live at the Talk House with Jason Bateman and Will Arnett and Sean Hayes, the greatest podcasters alive, I guess. Their podcast, I think, is like the #1 podcast. Summer Stage, going strong here. We're live from Central Park. We're making our way across Central Park. I'm going to pause for a second to just sit and... you know, it's reggae, so I gotta light up, you know. Gather my thoughts. You know, I'm trying to hack my way through the Upper East Side here, so I'm trying to be coherent and insightful while negotiating these mean New York City streets. Hopefully we're not getting copyright sniped. I haven't been getting that many views on my live streams. But, I don't know. It's, this is like nobody wants to come to class in the summertime, okay? Nobody wants to be in school. Nobody wants to see Dr. Proctor lecture. Open mic PhD. Majoring in open mic studies. A pioneer of open mic studies at Ohio University. Scripps School of Journalism. I can't do stand-up comedy because there's just too many people from Ohio. It's like everybody from fucking Ohio that moves here is a goddamn stand-up comedian. It's like, what the fuck? I guess Ohio is like the place where stand-up comedians come from because it's like right-wing TV culture. You're raised on South Park and all this stupid shit. Family Guy. But I think people in this country are like embarrassed to feel. You know, like comedy is like a hysterical reaction. You know, poetry. I was rewatching it. I encourage people, I know they probably won't, but I encourage people to rewatch the rooftop telethon from last year. It was actually a pretty good event, and the tape is not that bad. You can listen, you can hear the music, you can hear the comedy and the poetry. There's some good performances on there. I hope that people come out this year. You know, last year the event was pretty spectacular. It was like a culmination of the summer, you know, so it was like we had been building a certain audience all summer that sort of came out for the rooftop thing. And a lot of those people have gone on to bigger and better things. Or they've just stopped coming altogether. I kind of want to take my shoes off. So I'm hoping that we can get a good event this year. I've got some good music acts, and Kuzu Daddy's gonna come out and do a full set. I was just talking to Joe Levy. Hopefully he comes out. Who's the guy? I got a number of good people that are signed up. Peter Glissman. The Labor Day telethon. All right, what the hell else do we do? Yeah, I don't know. It was weird talking about. Was that weird to talk about the thing with this girl I hooked up with? I just thought it was kind of rude. It's just like she didn't want to talk to me at all. So I guess I'm just a loser. I'm just not. I've got no draw. It's just weird to me. I guess, is that how women are? That just like, if you're somebody that she hooked up with 15 years ago, is it just like you are just like something she wants to forget about and just doesn't even feel the need to say hi or be cordial at all? You know, we both live in New York. What else happened on the Uncalculated Comedy Show? Well, I've been doing a bunch of stuff. I went to this Fiction Bar open mic on Wednesday. Fiction Bar, it's weird because they have jazz fucking every day of the month but one. But it's called Fiction Bar, which I think is kind of, it should be a literary bar if they're gonna call it Fiction Bar. It's like you should have readings every fucking day. But they have jazz every day. And then one day a month they do a literary open mic. And it was very interesting to see, actually. I encourage writers to go to this open mic. It's called Open Book NYC. But it's really for prose. It was a lot of prose. It was all short stories, basically. It was all short stories. And I guess they have a writing group once a week where it's like the same people from that open mic meet once a week in Ridgewood. I hate when people in Ridgewood say they live in Queens. It's like, you do not live in Queens. You want to say you live in Queens because it sounds cooler than like living in like Brooklyn, Bushwick or whatever. But it's like, you don't live in Queens. I mean, technically you do, but you don't. You don't live in fucking Forest Hills. You don't live in Jackson Heights. You don't live in Flushing. You live in fucking Ridgewood, which is like more Bushwick than Bushwick. It's like the core of the most hip 25-year-old, you know, people that want to be cool. I lived there, okay? I lived off Fresh Pond Road, okay? I lived there. I went to Topos. I did not like it. There was a bus station right down the street. It was all cops. That neighborhood is all police officers. But anyway, Open Book NYC does their writing group there once a week. And then they do an open mic once a month. And one of the things that they did that was really interesting is their sign up. This guy invented, like, he must have programmed this. They have a whole, like, you scan a QR code and you go to their sign up and you give like your top 5 preferential slots. You send them your social media. You do it all on your phone, right? And then, like, before the open mic's about to start, they send you the list. And so it's on your phone, and you can see as it goes through the open mic, it changes. This person's reading, this person's reading. And you can just see where you're at. And there's like some algorithm that decides the order of the list, which, like, that's basically what I do on Monday, except I don't have a fancy app. The algorithm's all up here. But, you know, I was looking at the list from this past week, and I had the list of where people signed up, and I had the list of the order that people actually went in. Because this week I had a lot of people flake. I counted, I had 41 people signed up and 20 of them flaked. So half the people fucking didn't show up. But almost everybody got on earlier than when they signed up. Everybody got on earlier than when they signed up. And, you know, people get angry because they have to wait, or they don't, you know, especially at Easy Paradise, it's like we don't have a list that you can look at. There's no piece of paper. You know, it's all on my phone. It's all what I do look at it like you're kind of a quarterback. It's like you got to be able to call audibles. You got to be able to me, it's about doing the best show that I can do while at the same time being fair to the customers. You know, like if you went late one week, I try to put you on early the next week. But usually I won't put people on early unless I've seen them before, because I have to do a great show or else people won't come back. So it's like I need to put the best acts kind of on the first 2 hours. But I try to balance it. You know, I know if there's somebody that I try to hide people's weaknesses, basically. What else? I don't know. I just like the art of talking on stage. I don't know. I guess I'm sort of realizing that, like, poetry really is the place. So I went up at this open mic, open book. I think I went on 10th, which, you know, I'd never been there before. I wanted to kind of get the lay of the land. I went on first after the break, which kind of sucks. So they take breaks, which I don't, you know, like, obviously at Easy Paradise, we don't take breaks. We go all the way through. I guess the breaks kind of give it breather and kind of give people a chance to socialize. But, you know, it reminded me a lot of that event that we went to for the Drift, where it was like people writing prose. I don't really hear prose that often. It doesn't interest me, really. And it almost seems like a different form of reading. It feels like amateur to me. Like, to me, poetry is like, I'm used to seeing that live, and I'm used to kind of like, poetry is exciting live, you know, it's more like a performance. It's once again, it's so close to stand-up comedy, except you have a piece of paper, whereas like reading prose does not feel that way. Reading prose feels like you're at some fucking WNYC symphony space. Oh God, nobody's watching. Well, it's Friday night. I mean, will anybody ever watch this? I've been getting about a steady 40 to 50 views. That's not bad. I mean, if there were 40 or 50 people in a room watching me do this, it'd be packed. And that's something with the open mic. It's like, you know, there's usually 40 people watching, but then we'll get 40 or 50 or 70 or 80. Stony Poo in the house. Thank you for watching. Stony Poo. We're in Central Park. What the hell do I need to talk about this week? You know, there's just so much. There's too much to talk about. Good evening, Stony Poo. Theater is sex. Oh yeah, the tattoo thing. I want to comment on the tattoo phenomenon. Tattoos are not for everybody. I think you have to have taste to get a tattoo. You know, getting a tattoo is so much about taste because, like, what if you get an ugly tattoo? Or what if you get a stupid tattoo? It's like you're stuck with this, you know, it's like that's the risk. That's why it's like, okay, the tattoo is not for everybody. There should be like a fear and like, I don't know. Are you getting some kind of cyber sigil? Some kind of cyber sigil sticker tattoo? I read a line, one of my poems had a line, it's hotter to not have tattoos. You can see my entire reading, by the way, on TikTok. I uploaded my entire reading. So they give you a fucking video. This open mic, they really run it well. The guy had a fucking QR code shirt. His shirt, he literally made a fucking shirt that was a QR code for the open mic. And so, I should be getting my shit together and you know, I really could do a lot more with the Monday thing. I need to figure out a way to kind of rejuvenate it, make it exciting for people, you know, make it kind of fresh. This guy's got a fucking app. You sign up in an app, and afterwards they send you a goddamn video of your performance. You know, they sent me a portrait of the whole thing. It's 5 minutes. I did pretty much exactly 5 minutes. Ashley said a thing a couple weeks ago that kind of, we should all be wearing a QR code. You're exactly right, Sony Poo. Just fucking tattoo it and give me a QR code tattoo. Carve it into my neck. Apparently neck tattoos are the hottest tattoos. Face tattoo is a little too far, but the neck tattoo is the hottest. Say, like, you know, you're Travis Barker or whatever. Khloe Kardashian will date you. Some kind of cyborg, unreactive bitch will think you're edgy. Very demure, very mindful. Why are all women, why is it, it's hot to be like indifferent. Gen X never get one. There you go. See, I've never gotten tattoos either. I feel pure. Well, so I had a line, it's hotter to not have tattoos, which I think I heard on TikTok. As I'm looking over my poetry books from the last year, I'm like, these are all TikTok. Everything is like a TikTok conspiracy in my poems, which is not good. I'm realizing that it's like shaping my narrative. And then that goes into my poetry. But, oh, I went to Kuzu Daddy's boathouse yesterday. I got to talk about that. It's the first time I've been in the boathouse. We'll be podcasting from the boathouse. We should have been doing that the last 2 summers, but... So, I don't know. Ashley said a thing about, well, you know, I do have until Friday to do whatever I want. And so I need to get out to more open mics, and I need to get back into the community more. So I went to this thing at Open Book because, honestly, I miss reading poetry. I like reading poetry at open mics and doing readings. And so I've been doing comedy open mics or music open mics or this or that. Or, you know, even at the Monday, I've been doing other stuff. I've been doing the piano thing or country music. It's country music summer. Because I thought it kind of got stale with me reading poetry just every week. But now I realize, I don't know, that's kind of what I'm the best at. And I kind of get everything across through the poetry. You know, everything that I want to say on stage, it's kind of in the poetry in like encapsulated kind of pill form. The red pill. And so, I don't know, everybody was reading prose at this open mic though. So I'm like, they're not going to like what I do. They like coherence. They like good sentences. I was talking to my mom on the phone. We were mutually complaining about why writing sucks now. Why literature sucks now. She was talking about sentences. Everybody, I don't know. I feel like literature is a place where like people go to feel self-important. They want to feel like college professors. They want to feel like Tweed and smarter than everybody else. And like, oh, I read books. I'm smarter than you. You know, it is like a way, I think, to like compartmentalize yourself, you know, cordon yourself off in a way that is a little bit holier than now. And I think people are just in the aesthetic, right? Like now it's book talk or dark academia. You know, people just want to feel smart. And this is, you know, this is something I was kind of talking about with my mom because she's a paralegal, right? So she works for the state of Ohio. She's having to deal with people that went to college, went to law school, they've got degrees. Adam S. in the house, my man. And in writing, it's kind of the same thing. It's like everybody's got an MFA now. Hi, hello, smoking a joint. That's right, Jeff Barry. It's legal here in Central Park. So we are, if you have it at home, we'll smoke them if you got them. Get out your vibe joints. Your vibe joints, everybody. Get out your vibe joints. My lighter's running out of gas. Yeah, that's one of the beautiful things about YouTube. It ain't illegal to smoke weed on YouTube. They won't censor you like TikTok. Well, maybe they do. I don't know. Is that why am I shadow banned on YouTube? Is that why my videos get so, is that why I'm not viral? Muhammad's 2 p.m. disposed. There you go. So I'm coming off my hot comedy set at Dangerfield's Comedy Club on the Upper East Side. I did my highly sexual stand-up comedy. My material about titty fucking. Netflix and chill. No one is chilling. I'm more of a Tubi and titty fucking guy. And so, you know, Netflix and chill. Chill is a euphemism for titty fucking. You're in the basement watching My Dinner with Andre, titty fucking. So I did all my, I mean, it's Dangerfield's Comedy Club. I feel like you gotta do your, my fucking phone ran out of storage halfway through my set though. I wasn't killing, I mean, no one was laughing. In my head, I was killing. My fans would have appreciated it. Adam S. would have loved it. Adam S. would have loved my comedy set. At Dangerfield's, Rodney Dangerfield's Comedy Club. I killed him. Yeah, I feel like literature is just like, it's just like art washing. It's just like a country club, you know. And so that's also stylistically, there you go. That's also stylistically, I don't get no respect, exactly. I want to do some I want to do some material about how I'm a piece of shit. I have low self-esteem and shit, like Rodney Dangerfield. The Godfather, the King. We all love Rodney Dangerfield. He was like a Christ figure. He's a martyr. I don't get no respect in this life. I'm a Christ figure. My wife is such a nag. My wife nag. Oh, my wife doesn't nag me. In my house, we pray after we eat. He's a poet. Rodney Dangerfield is a poet. He's got that shit down, you know? It's all exactly right. And it's all economized. It's all hyper-economized. He took like Henny Youngman and put it in a plaid jacket. Rat fuck! Okay, here's one thing I want to address. In Caddyshack, does the priest, you know when Bill Murray, they go around, the priest is playing in the rain and he's going to break the course record. At the end, when he misses the putt because the toad is in the hole, does he say rat fuck? Or does he say rat farts? Because I'm pretty sure he says rat farts. But for my whole life, I mean, Caddyshack, I don't know about you, but for my family, Caddyshack is like the Bible. Caddyshack is like the Magna Carta of being poor. Being Irish Catholic, you got all variety, you see all of society in Caddyshack. And so, for my whole youth, rat fuck. We thought he was saying rat fuck. And rat fuck was like the funniest thing we could possibly think of. It was just so funny. that this guy, this priest, yells rat fuck and gets struck by lightning, but apparently he was saying rat farts. All right, I'm gonna move to my other favorite place before it gets dark. People have been getting robbed in Central Park, so I don't think anybody will steal my jank ass camera, but rat fuck. If there's anybody out there that can shed some light on that, is it rat fuck or is it rat farts? I think it's rat farts. I think I watched it like with the subtitles and it said rat farts, which to be honest is really not funny at all. I don't know how they came up with rat fuck. I mean, I've never heard anybody say rat fuck anywhere ever. But they should. I'm petitioning, this is my movement. We need to make rat fuck happen. Gen Z, yeah, Gen Z, Skibbity Ohio Toilet Riz. Can you start saying rat fuck, Gen Z? I don't think that's very Gen Z. It feels very boomer. It feels boomer coded. It feels like rat fink. To commemorate the landing, here we go. Why not tear this fucking statue down? We're tearing down statues to commemorate the landing of the Pilgrim Fathers of Plymouth Rock. One of the things that's frustrating about I feel like, I don't know if it's that people are sensitive, but it's so easy to get people to, be weirded out by you. I guess maybe I'm an insane weirdo, but, if I even have, if you make, if I, ooh, this is nice. I won't name any names, but, there's constantly people falling out of my life and stopping coming to the open mic, or it's just so easy. I don't know if the internet does that to us. Is that a symptom of fucking Instagram or whatever, or maybe it's because we're artists and we're trying to make it and whatnot, but just get jealous that you're not on a certain thing, or people are doing a certain thing without you, or blah, 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 blah. We know the pecking order. We know where our place is. In the king of the hill. We're all scrambling, climbing each other to the top. That row of buildings, that's the Upper East Side. That's where Woody Allen lives. That's the Epstein. No, I think that's American Psychos. The American Psycho movie. The American Psycho lives there. Bret Easton Ellis. What else? Yeah, I'm going to move down here to my favorite Pain Quotidian. They privatized my patio space. Turned it into a fucking Panera Bread over here, which kind of pisses me off. This is the Reflection Pond. I come here to listen to jazz standards and reflect upon my comedy sets. I mean, Joe Levy was going to do another set. I ran into Joe Levy. That's one of the exciting things about being a part of the New York City kind of membrane. And open mics, I think, are a great way where it's you just kind of intersect with people and connect with people all over the city. In every, every open mic I go to, at the open book, I ran into Noah Fried. Shout out to Noah Fried, who runs the haunted open mic every Sunday at Caffeine Underground, which is super dope. Every Sunday it's Halloween. You can wear a Halloween costume to this open mic every Sunday. I highly recommend the haunted mic every Sunday. And he does it every week. He does it on fucking Christmas. So we were sort of commiserating and comparing notes. We actually really kind of hit it off, I think. And, we had a lot in common because we're both kind of weekly open mic hosts. He told me to just let the regulars go. That's the hardest part of being an open mic host, is just letting the regulars go. At a certain point, they just leave. They leave, they go to steal your ideas and do them better than you. And they go to start their own thing, and they should. That's the point. The point is to create this mighty culture of this web. You know, we really have this web of all of these different anchors, you know, for people to show themselves and to be artists. You know, it gives people a place to be artists and to show their work, and that makes the work real. And you know, it's just exciting to go play the different boroughs, go do an open mic uptown, you know, run into a DOK at in Harlem, or you know, do so the open book I ran into Noah Fried. We talked for a while, and then Franz. I hadn't seen Franz in a while. Franz, Halloween in 2027 will be a Sunday. Franz was homeless, and he had all these bags and shit that he would take. And this room, I didn't realize he's been going there for like a year. These people all loved him. He was like a featured act. Everybody knew who he was, and they all just fucking loved him. And it was cool. Good. I mean, that's fantastic. You know, he deserves that, you know. And he read his rhyming, you know, metrical kind of quatrains, and people just ate it up. The academic. So I just thought, there's no way people are going to like what I'm doing. I'm writing these sort of, you know, stream of consciousness, sloppy, just reading shit from my diary. And, you know, I picked some good pieces, but I'm like, going up there, I'm just like, these people all kind of have a stick up their ass. They're all really straight writers. They all are doing something very conventional. They're all writing prose. They're all writing short stories. I'm like doing something way more obnoxious and self-indulgent and non-narrative, or like the narrative is super fragmented and all over the place. Look at this beautiful view here. This is absolutely one of my favorite parts of New York. This conservatory water. Maybe I'll do a little poetry reading while I'm over here for everybody in the dusk light, in the friscolating dusk light. So yeah, I want to get out more and be an active part and kind of, you know, sort of show up in different parts of the membrane of kind of New York City performance. You know, so I went to Fiction Bar, that's in Williamsburg. I hadn't been out there forever. I kind of avoid that area. You know, I just have too much history. You know, I have so much fucking history in Williamsburg that it's just like, oh God. But really, you know, this is where all the hot people are. Do I need to, you know, do I need to keep trying to like fucking penetrate this like hot people? It's just disgusting. You want to talk about fascism? It's just like, let's get all the hot people in Williamsburg. And great. We'll get tattoos and be better than everybody else. And so I don't go there. Well, I don't know. I like to see what else is going on, I guess. Where do I want to sit? This is not bad. Should I be up here? Should I be... do people like it when I sit, or do people like it when I move? What do people like? What are people liking? Does the audience like this, or you like this better? You like this, or you like this better? Is this better, or is this better? Am I losing people? Oh my God, I'm losing viewers. I'm losing watch time. I mean, my watch time is down. Maybe that's a good thing. You know, I think it can't always be the Attitude Era. You know, this is something I've been thinking about. It's like, you know, the WWF goes on. You know, Vince McMahon, his business, his corporation, and they have sort of goals of their own that they're achieving. They went public, they become this billion-dollar company, blah, blah, blah. And so, oh my God, I think there's an animal in this fucking trash can. There are a lot of animals around this area, so it's part of the fun. It's like a zoo. I mean, it's their home, you know? It's a fucking park. It's their home. We'll get some of this pan quotidian. Look at that shit. So it's like, you know, the Attitude Era or the Golden Era with Hulk Hogan and shit. It's like you wish it could be that way all the time. but it's like sometimes it's the ruthless aggression era. And you always got to be making new superstars, you know? You got to be making new superstars constantly. We're a superstar factory, you know? We're trying to find tomorrow's headliners today. I mean, how many people going back through these old posts, and I'm not taking credit for it, I'm just proud to have been a part of anybody's journey, you know, as an artist, and, you know, and being a part of it in any way. But there's a lot of people that we featured early on that have gone on to incredible things, you know, and continue to go on to bigger and better things. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's multiple people from the open mic that make it in a, you know, and I think in a certain way we will all make it. I don't understand why there isn't more buzz in the media about what's happening. Not that the media really exists anymore. It's social media. I mean, there really aren't even blogs. There's no Bedford and Bowery, or, you know, Time Out New York used to write about stuff, or the Village Voice is gone. You know, it's like there's no local, Bushwick Daily used to they did an article about wrestling once. So it's like you could get kind of publicity or articles here and there. Now it's like everything's an account, you know, or like a fucking TikTok video now. And so it's like there's this really amazing thing happening where there's this kind of movement in New York with open mics, you know, and poetry especially. You know, there's this poetry scene that's really coming to life of people making their own venues and legitimizing their own work with outside of academia and outside of and sort of inventing a new way. And it's these open mics, it's magazines, it's everybody starting their own open mic. I mean, I will say I think that is one thing that's different about Easy Paradise from the open mics that I used to go to. You know, like going to Sidewalk Cafe. They used to do one at Path Cafe where the list was super long and it was all kind of stuff. And under St. Mark's, to some degree, the same. Where it's like those shows are not really about the host. The host was not really a big part of those shows. At Sidewalk Cafe, the host would stay off stage the whole time. And he was at the board just announcing people the whole time. Whereas, like, you know, the difference now is like people are hosting their own shows. And so their shows are like their little TV show. It has their fingerprint on it. It has their name, their branding, their graphic design, their aesthetic, how they want to run it, you know. I think that's super cool where like now the show, the open mic is kind of the piece, you know, where it's like it's got a name, it's got color, a sensibility. There's certain, you know, like hot people reading poetry or Secret Pete's or there's all kinds of stuff, you know, just like exploding. And so why isn't there media attention? Why isn't there a report? Why doesn't the New York Times say, hey, look at this, look at what's going on. All these poets are really doing something interesting. And, you know, we're not, you know, Annie Hamilton, I guess, or some kind of Dime Square The Drift, you know, like there's certain things that get tons of publicity. And I guess in a certain way, part of living in New York is like the local, like, doesn't exist, or like it does exist, but you're next to these things that are so like ginormously important, like culturally, that like the local just feels like a speck, you know, like, okay, we can do this open mic and, you know, we have great people on, or, you know, there's exciting readings happening or comedy shows, but there's also fucking Kill Tony at Madison Square Garden, or there's Broadway, or there's Saturday Night Live, or there's fucking, the Tonight Show, or there's movies being shot here, there's the biggest, you know, fucking Taylor Swift, or whatever it is, you know. It's just like, it seems like there's way more distance now, or there's just like, that shit just hovers above in the cloud. It's like being in New York is not really a passageway, it doesn't seem like, to the top. You know, it's like you need to get famous through social media somehow. I mean, even Taylor Swift like built her following on MySpace. And same thing with Arctic Monkeys and shit. It's like they got big on fucking MySpace. It's like nowadays they are looking to you to show them what people want to see. They're looking to people who already have a following, which You know, if you don't have that, you're shit out of luck. Look at this beautiful sky here. Just 1 second. People are so sensitive, and I don't know, they'll cut you out real easily. Maybe I'll read some poetry. Okay, what other hard-hitting? It's election coverage 2024, okay? It's the Democratic National Convention this week. I watched some of it here and there. I mean, it was all kind of bullshit. What did I watch? I watched, I liked the roll call where they had the DJ. This is Governor Phil. We're from Jersey, baby. And you're not. That's gone viral. The thing about TikTok, and my brother was right, it's like, the thing about brain rot is like, this shit is not actually funny. You know, like Hak Tua is not actually funny. It never was. It's just something that for whatever reason captures people's imagination. Same thing with this Jersey thing. It's like, it's not really funny. Or Bing Bong. Remember Bing Bong? It's like, this shit's not actually funny. It's just, it's like, it is like Skibbity Toilet Riz. It's just such a scrambling of context, and it's just absurdity. You know, just taking things completely out of context, recontextualizing them in, you know, wildly dissociative circumstances to make, like, you know, Skibbity Toilet Riz was like this meme of like a guy's head in a toilet. There's like a whole show of, like, I haven't seen it. Probably people on YouTube know more about it than I do, because that's where the culture is. The culture is like watching Skibbity Toilet Riz. Like children, you know, Gen Alpha or whatever, are like watching Skibbity Toilet Riz. Because it mystifies older people. You know, the young people always go for stuff that's more nonsensical, more short attention span, more disjunctive, faster, more tweaked out. That's what newness is. You know, the young people just, when we're looking to young people to tell us what's new, you know, that's the role that they play. We look to Gen Z to be like, well, yes, Skibbity Toilet Riz. Why? What the fuck is this? They like this. They all grew up, you know, fucking with iPads visors, you know, hitched umbilically to fucking iPads. And so they just are different, you know, they think differently. They're all Parkland survivors. So it's kind of fascinating. We're learning from young people just as much as they're learning. Teach us how to be cool just as much as they're learning from us. I'm indie sleaze, but only because I haven't gotten any new clothes since 2007. Literally, all of my clothes, I think the newest clothes I got were like 2010. So literally, I was indie sleaze the whole time. It's just, it came back in style. I've been wearing like the wrong clothes for like 10 years, but now I've been wearing them so long that they're in fashion again. So let's go, baby. We're from Jersey and you're not, baby. I gotta get to the Jersey Shore. I really want to go to the Jersey Shore and do some open mics there. You know, we gotta take the open mic revolution nationwide, worldwide. I just think there's such, when I was watching the rooftop show from last year, the poetry was setting my mind on fire. It was like Rice Krispies in my brain. It's just snap, crackle, pop, baby. And the comedy is like embarrassing. It's funny, but only if I like force myself to laugh. I don't know. I'm talking so much shit about comedy. Is like, are comedians watching this and being like, fuck this loser, he just is bitter because he sucks at comedy? I don't want to be good at comedy. I hate comedy. I want to bend. I have a naive, misguided idea about what it was. You know, when I go into Rodney's or these official comedy clubs, they just think I'm a freak. You know, whereas like I'm just fucking espousing truth. I'm just espousing. I'm freely espousing so much goddamn truth. All right, I feel like I need to get the angle from over here. This is just a better angle, I feel. I gotta get that, you know, that water in there somehow. Hopefully no animals attack me, but maybe that'll be exciting for you guys. Maybe I'll sit here for just like a few more minutes. I'll smoke this and then I'll go. All right, I mean, yeah, so it's election coverage 2024, the DNC. What the hell did I see? I wasn't really impressed with Josh Schlossberg. I did not think he was. Here comes a mouse right now. God. You know, I'm glad that he exists. He'll probably win office someday. He's no JFK Jr. But I didn't think his speech was that. I thought Kamala's speech was actually really good. I didn't watch that much of it, but she seemed to really nail it. But, you know, I'm also, you know, what I was really watching was these Channel 5 videos where they went to the Poor People's Rally and they talked about how Tim Kaine is super pro-Israel. And I do think Kamala's speech was not what the Democrats should say about Israel. You know, she basically said Israel has a right to defend itself, which I suppose is true, but that assumes that Israel, you know, has a right to exist and blah, blah, blah. Which is that's what the Democrats are saying that they endorse, basically. You know, we endorse Israel's right to exist. They have a right to defend themselves, but we want to, she did not say the word ceasefire, I don't think. Biden said ceasefire, but I don't think Kamala said ceasefire, which, you know, it's AIPAC. You know, if you look at AIPAC, a lot of the people they donate most to are Democrats. And so, and Tim Kaine, I guess, was super pro-Israel when he was governor of Minnesota. I mean, Channel 5, like, you know, they were interviewing Jill Stein. And so this is all like espousing her. And they're like a lot of shit on YouTube that's like, they're kind of de facto right-wing because they just say they're so anti-everything in the government. You know, they just think it's all bullshit. You shouldn't vote for Kamala. Kamala sucks. It's the war machine. So they're just, you know, when they may be right, but they're also not really being realistic about the pragmatic circumstances of what our choices are. Well, the argument was like, we're already in fascism. The Democrats are saying that they are going to prevent fascism. You have to vote for them to stop fascism, whereas they actually are already fascist, which I would not agree with that. I don't see how the Democrats are fascists, actually. You know, it's like, you know, they didn't outlaw abortion. Well, okay, part of the argument was, and I don't know how true this is, but supposedly the Democrats are funding extremist right-wing candidates because they're easier to beat, or that's the theory. You know, like, the Democrats actually wanted Trump to be the nominee in 2016, and they helped him get the nomination because they thought Hillary would easily beat him. So part of the argument on Channel 5 is like, the Democrats are just as bad because they are funding, maybe I should get here. Because it is getting dark. I kind of want to get across the park before it gets dark. Oh, look at the ducks over here. I mean, I definitely don't think there's any danger. I mean, there's all kinds of people here. It's Friday night, you know, it's a nice night. So it's not like, I wonder how this looks to you guys. This probably just looks like a bunch of digital shit. Oh, there's some bats. So I read my poem about bats on Wednesday. I had a kind of a resurface. One of my earliest memories, we lived in this house on Front Street, and a bat flew into our room. And in the middle of the night. And so I remember waking up at night in the dark, my whole family being awake, you know, trying to get this fucking bat out of our room. So I wrote a poem about it, which was narrative. It was like a short story, really. So it's kind of, I've been experimenting with that a little bit more, including more kind of like prose-like chunks and longer chunks of, to show people that I can actually write. Like, I am a good writer. I can actually write prose it takes work for me. I have to sit down, to be honest, my mind works like in two ways. I can either do stuff like fast and sloppy, like chess, right, was kind of the way that I learned this, is like, speed chess. I was not always that good at speed chess, but I liked it. Like, searching for Bobby Fischer is like the perfect metaphor for me for like poetry and practice. Like in the movie, Josh, who's like this chess prodigy kid, he wants to play speed chess with the Potters in Washington Square Park. Lawrence Fishburne, right? He likes it. It's fun. To me, that's like New York School poetry. It's like writing fast, writing, I just do this, I do that. You're like a hustler, you're like a street hustler. You're a hero. You're out in the city. You're thinking fast. Like New York, you have to think instantly, and you have to be a genius. It's just like you have to have the answer. You have to have it now. It just has to materialize in your fucking mind, This is sounding good. That's Devil Went Down to Georgia. But the thing is, for me, when I was playing chess, a lot of times, okay, like when I played in high school, I was really good, but most of the matches had a half-hour time limit on the clock. So each person had a half hour to do their move. And, I would use almost all my fucking time because I would have to think, I think kind of slow. Like I have this line in my poem recently about I react slowly, I think deeply, or it's like that Buster Keaton line, think slow, act fast, I think is what Buster Keaton says. Think slow, act fast. That's kind of how I feel. Think slow, act fast. And, I am maybe not the most, like, instantly reactive guy, which is, like, more of a street smarts thing, like speed chess. Maybe it is sloppy. Maybe it is, like a street hustle, just clumsy fucking thing. It's almost like muscle memory, it's like it's like reflexes. It's more like sports or something. And, having to do things in the moment and be on your balls of your feet, be nimble, be on your wits. Is this the ramble? I don't really want to go through there. Well, they're building more ugly shit here. I think it is. Fuck. Can I get around this or past this? I'll just go up the goddamn loop. Wandering Central Park. All the New Yorkers know it well. Classic. Frolicking like Bottom in Midsummer Nights. Tis a Midsummer Nights live stream. Midsummer Night's stream. Here in Leo season. Yeah, so writing is kind of the same thing, where it's like, right now I play speed chess. I play Bug House. It's fast and dirty. And I like it that way. That's my 30s, my dirty 30s, okay? I had to spend my whole 20s getting to the place where in my 30s I could have a great time and be an adventurer. I didn't really know how to do that. Oh God. through here. I just gotta get through. I'm going through. I'm going through. I don't care. I'm going straight through. This is like a fucking parking lot or something. You know, where it's like, in order to write, correct, or to say, like poetry, that's what you're supposed to do. You know, you are supposed to wait or take your time or revise it or whatever the fuck. You know, it's the idea is like there's some kind of trial. You know, oh, it's like somehow you have to find the thing. You've got to find these words that make it poetry, the best words in the best order. And that's what I see people trying to do, like all these people writing prose and most people that write poetry. You know, they're trying to like write this East Coast academic, you know, it's going to get me in some anthology or published or Random House or some job or something, MFA. Not everybody. You know, like a lot of the MFA people have a style that's like a little more shrewd and often, you know, interesting, dynamic. You know, there are definitely a lot of good writers in MFA programs. You know, no doubt about it. That's where they all go. Why wouldn't they? We're going into the fucking ramble. We're rambling here, ramblers. Let's get rambling. I got one streamer. Nobody gives a fuck about my musings. My witty, oh God. Don't make me walk up a hill, man. Okay, what else? So yeah, now we really are in the enchanted Midsummer Night's Dream. They went into the forest after dark, and that's when shit got freaky. She fucked a donkey. Because she was on Molly. They did Molly at the EDM concert. Kuzu Daddy's trying to get me to go to Marquee tonight. I'd like to. Sounds fun. I'd love to go. We know this guy who does lights there. There's some famous DJ. I went to his boathouse yesterday. It was pretty sick, pretty dope. We're gonna do some live streams out there, so stay tuned for that, everybody. You're watching Scenes from a Life live. Please like and subscribe. Okay. Which way do I go? Which way do I go? We're on the Teddy Bears Picnic. Ashley's obsessed with the Teddy Bears Picnic now. I told her, I can't believe she never heard of it. Ashley is so Teddy Bears Picnic coded. I'm just trying to get through these woods as quickly as possible without incident, as quietly as possible. Hope these are nice people. Yeah, they look like tourists. So I'm on the Teddy Bears Picnic. This is suspense for you guys. Every time I come to Central Park, there's a period where I'm trying to, you know, I'm in some kind of suspenseful situation. Oh God, how do I get out of these woods? Yeah, I talked to my mom on the phone. Happy birthday, Mom. It was my mom's birthday the other day. She's watching The Twilight Zone. She was saying Rod Serling wrote science fiction to get past the censors. He could hide, you know, he could confront issues of the day, sort of in veiled circumstances through science fiction, I guess. But he considers himself a playwright. He did a bunch of dramatic writing at Antioch College in Ohio, which is in Yellow Springs, which is where Dave Chappelle lives now. It's where Dave Chappelle's comedy club is. But, you know, Rod Serling went to college there, and he wrote, ooh, there's a fucking raccoon. Oh my God. Okay, chill. I'm just live streaming. Oh my God, where am I? Okay, here's the loop again. That's not That's not where I want to be. Fuck. Oh, man. Live streaming has got to be like one of the worst crimes against nature. The fact that you can just do this anywhere. Like anytime I see high definition video of like sharks or like people on like, you know, they're doing like that surfing where they're like standing on a surfboard with like a paddle and there's like hammerhead sharks and they're like, they've all got GoPros. Like this is not what should be happening here. How the fuck am I guess I'm just going north. I just want to go through the ramble. I just want to go across it and out. I don't want to. Is this exciting? Probably not. This is probably, I don't know how to fucking be exciting on the internet for people, okay? I started yelling at the audience too. Like, that was funny. I guess I have anger. Is that like scary anger? Apparently I'm doing something that's like really, how did this happen? I just ended up going north. Motherfucker. So that was pointless. Alright. Oh, I'm gonna go across here, I guess. Belvedere Castle this way. That's perfect. That's exactly where I want to be. I want to be at Belvedere Castle. You know, I love video games. You know what video game I love? It's called Being Alive in the World. Like this. This is like a fucking quest on a video game. It's like, where the fuck am I going? I gotta find my way through all this shit. I don't have a map. I got these objectives. I got this magic fucking potion. I recharge, I refuel. I'm trying to say something profound for the internet so that I create some kind of online cult of personality, which is how we monetize everything today, because everything is fucking a business, or it doesn't exist. And so, please watch me. Please validate me. Please view me. View me, baby. I love those views, baby. Give me those views. That is nice. We're gonna get this nice little, see, we got another nice landscapes for you. I wanted to live stream on my way to Rodney's because I walked by the UN, Sutton Place. That's one of the nicest parts of town, but I think the Central Park episodes are important. You know, the idea that I can even do this, just like make a piece as I'm, you know, I'd be thinking this anyway. So it's like I'm just externalizing it for the prosthetic memory and for all the spies, for all this, you know, surveillance, all the fucking weirdos on the internet. 3 likes. 40 years old, 3 likes. There's Belvedere Castle. Speaking of Shakespeare, here we are. You know, the magic of coincidence, synchronicity. I'm just trying to get to the Upper West Side as fast as possible, okay? Get me to the Upper West Side. There we are. It's like Terry Gilliam, right? It's like the Fisher King. You know, we're living mythology. We're living heroes and adventurous legends. You know, I think we feel that way. Going to open mics, performing, it's scary. You know, you're putting your life on the line every time you go up there. You're putting your ego on the line. You're fucking, you know, you're facing death every time you go up to that microphone. That's what the mic represents. That's what the open mic represents. It represents death. You're looking into the void. That microphone, you know, like a lot of my flyers, this empty stage with the microphone. And I'm obsessed with kind of the image of the microphone. I've always wanted to work with microphones. Even as a kid, I loved microphones, microphone stands. I always thought they were kind of special and powerful. I always wanted to work with them. And so the open mic on the stage, that's the crucible. That's where you prove yourself. You get all the psychos frothing at the mouth at your racist observations. Your infantile poopy humor. Your arrested development. Your own emotional retardation. Another renovation that doesn't need to happen, the Delacorte Theater. They're renovating this for some reason. It looks sweet. It looked like a minor league baseball stadium. But just like Rodney's, you know, it's like, oh, they gotta fuck it up. Turn into some modern 21st century piece of shit. Some Elon Musk styled bullshit. Those people just have too much influence. Everything kind of has that flavor. It's kind of like aspirational, minimalistic, bland, like reaching toward like space. Cybertruck. Yeah, so the open mic represents death. And we are samurais, you know, even the comedians. I don't know what the hell they're working out. You know, I think that's part of it. Is like, these people are real. They exist. They're part of humanity. You know, there's a lot of men that are going up on stage and trying to, well, oh God, this is something I've been thinking about recently. I don't know if I should talk about this on the internet, but I might anyway. I do feel like maybe I am like some kind of like unusually exhibitionistic. Like I was telling Ashley about this because we watched that Happiness movie, right? And this is a trigger warning, okay? But this is my story of whatever, childhood trauma, let's say. But it's not really, but it's like, when I told the story the other day, so we watched this movie Happiness, right? Which I don't know if people have seen it, but it's pretty fucked up. It's about pedos, basically. And so I was thinking about when I was a kid, I was in 4th grade, we were sledding behind the elementary school, and this guy pulled up in a van. This was the 90s, right? This was like America's Most Wanted era. And he pulled up in a van, and he got like in the passenger seat, and he was probably 150, 200 feet away. Like he was not close to us, but it was like a parking lot behind the school, and there was a small hill. We were sledding, and this guy pulls up, and he parks kind of in the driveway, and he starts like jacking off. Or it looked, I don't know, it looked like a fake penis to me. It looked like a dildo or something because it was so exaggerated. We were far away though, so we couldn't really see, you know? And as I was telling Ashley this story, not that it's funny, but it's like, to me, I don't look at it like it's some kind of traumatic part of my childhood. To me, it's just like a crazy thing that happened, you know, in New York. You know, it wasn't uncommon for people to expose themselves or for people to jack off on the train or whatever. I mean, as a kid, we laughed about it, you know, and the guy got nowhere near us, and we fled. You know, we climbed up, there was a way to climb up over a fence and go the other way. So we did, you know, so I don't really look at it like this, you know, formative childhood sexual trauma or something. Like people today, I don't know, I think people are way more sensitive, and obviously that kind of thing is horrible, and it does shape somebody. So I don't know, when I told that story, it was like a surfaced memory, and starting to think about it, I'm like, well, is this why I am the way I am on stage? You know, did that sort of condition me in some weird way? Not like, I don't do that. Like, I'm not Louis C.K. This guy was Louis C.K. basically. And, you know, I don't do that. Like, I'm not really actually, you know, I don't have any kinks or anything, really. Not to really admit that on the internet, but I'm a pretty normal guy in that regard. Not that there is any normal, but my kink is getting up at comedy open mics. My kink is reading my poetry in front of people and just being a freak on stage, basically. But I don't, it's been a long time since I've even gotten my underwear on stage. I've never been naked on stage. But, I did that a couple times. I've gotten down to my underwear or whatever. But that's not really, I'm talking more about like an emotional boundary or something that isn't there, right? Like, am I like some kind of weird, I don't know. I guess I was always like that. Even in, I was thinking about this today. It's like, I've never really been a good person. Even as a kid, I was like a little a narcissistic politician who like, it's not like I was manipulative, but you're always trying to get what you want, or I don't know. Maybe that's not the right thing to admit on the internet, that I'm a bad person, but as I do things that I do now, I realize that I'm basically doing the same shit I did my whole life. Like, for instance, the open mic, and just my way of doing things, where I sort of throw these events and I book people on them and have these big kind of garish, almost like grotesque performances. When I was in 4th grade, we did this video, the Green Day video, right? I think I've talked about this before. Where like, we were supposed to do music videos in class, for music class. Which, this was 1994, so it was like, even having a camcorder was like, whoa. Just having one of those big fucking shoulder VHS motherfuckers. You're like, god damn, we're gonna make a music video. And so, I love Green Day, Dookie. And so basically my idea was just do Basket Case. It was exactly Basket Case. Like, we're gonna do the same fucking thing. And the centerpiece of it was, I had this electric guitar. My dad bought me a child-size electric guitar that he had mailed me from California. So I was gonna have this real electric guitar in the video. And, bringing it to school, it smelled like a fucking music store. It smelled like a guitar. And all the kids, it was like this magical object. Like, wow, can I see it? It's like this, Matt Proctor's got a fucking guitar. And so the video blew up in proportion. Everybody wanted to be in it. I started to get this buzz about the video where, like, everybody wanted to be in it. And, these girls wanted to be in it. They wanted to be cheerleaders. So I just started going, yeah, fuck yeah. We just started adding, and it became this big epic theater piece, with all these fucking people in it and cheerleaders and all these layers. And so we filmed the video. It was like Brecht, or Broadway, it looked like the Grammys or something. It was just like all these fucking people in background, foreground. These girls are dancing and shit. And so we film it. And I end up screaming the lyrics of the fucking song louder, because he just like played the CD, and ran the camera. It was 1994, so it sounded like shit. But I ended up like screaming the song, and I'm way off key. So it was really embarrassing, Everybody's like it was different than they thought it was going to be. They thought it was going to be this amazing, like, just smooth technical achievement, and it was gonna be like this magic, like, whoa, Matt Proctor like made the fucking Green Day video. Okay, what am I on? 85th Street? Okay, fuck. Here we go. Yeah, this is a transverse right here. Okay. And so that's kind of what I'm still doing. I'm singing off key, I'm screaming. I'm just built, and so it was kind of like outsider art. I feel like everything I do almost has like the quality of outsider art. Like, and I kind of like that. My heart is kind of with those people. People like Henry Darger, or public access people. I don't know. That stuff was a little bit more aestheticized when I was younger. That was more part of the aesthetic. The kitschiness of that. The campiness of the honesty of kind of outsider art, serial killer art. Not that I'm into that, But you know, like John Waters, there's some aspect of that in John Waters where it's like there's sort of a grotesque thing. There's sort of an avant-garde performance art edge to it because it's so like socially weird and maladapted. And here we are on Central Park West. And I never really intended to become that kind of person, but I feel like I just sort of became. I guess I admired that, you know, in Columbus, Ohio, in the indie, you know, kind of scene that I grew up in. That was kind of the vibe, you know, Shit Gaze, Damon Zex, Walt Peterson, and then all this stuff on cable TV, Howard Stern, whatever, you know, X-rated, pay-per-view. Just saw Mother by Aronofsky. All right, what's that about? Is that Daniel Johnston? Jonathan Richman's kind of like an outsider artist. You know, I'd like to be one of these people like Jonathan Richman or Henry Rollins, where it's just like they kind of have their own circuit, where it's like they play kind of smaller places. Ooh, okay. Yeah, he's into that stuff. He's into the biblical allegories. I saw The Fountain in the theater with Hugh Jackman. I didn't like it, but my friends thought it was like the greatest movie ever made. I've never really been a Darren Aronofsky guy. I've seen Requiem for a Dream. I haven't seen Pi. I, of course, saw The Wrestler. The Wrestler was great. But I also think a lot of, you know that speech he gives in The Wrestler about Nirvana killed hair metal and shit? It's like, I heard somebody's talking about that. I don't know, that kind of crystallized something in people's minds that's like not really exactly true. Like, I don't know. It was kind of interesting what a lot of those hair metal bands did in the 90s. In wrestling, same thing, you know? If you look at what Hogan was doing in the 90s, kind of interesting. Yeah, Requiem for the Dream, it was just like, I don't know, it's kind of cold. I heard this fucked up story about when Marlon Wayans, he was going to cast Marlon Wayans in that movie, and so he like met up with Marlon Wayans in New York in the wintertime, and he like made Marlon Wayans like walk around New York in like the freezing cold without a jacket. He's like, I want you to know what it's like to fucking feel, you know, like how that cold, what that's like, you know, when you're doing this movie. I want you to remember. And Marlon Wayans is like, motherfucker. Marlon Wayans is like, motherfucker, I grew up in New York. You know, I was poor. I know what it's like. You know, that seemed like kind of some arrogant, stupid shit to me. Like Aronofsky, he represents what just annoys me about hipster shit in general. Like, he's like LCD Sound System, or I don't know, it's just like Jack Antonoff. He's like got this kind of stupid little fucking trash stash. I don't know, I just think his movies are cold. Everybody, you know, he's like a, you know, to me, like Paul Thomas Anderson, I don't love. He's a similar, like, you know, seminal kind of like, I don't know, that era filmmaker. But, I mean, at least Paul Thomas Anderson movies, like, kind of are funny. You know, there's like a kinetic imagination in them. With Aronofsky, it's like, I remember Ass to Ass. With Weezer, you know, they're mathematical, but it's like, it's like musically mathematical. You know, it's like he wants to be Bach or something. You know, he's trying to write these melodies that are like, you know, harpsichord fucking articulations and shit. I don't know. The Fountain was like pseudo spirituality. It was about rebirth, reincarnation. I just didn't really think it was that profound. It was like, uh, you know, especially when you put Hugh Jackman as the center of the fucking movie. He's like meditating, he's like levitating in like this golden orb, but it's like, that's the fucking Music Man on Broadway. You know, it's like, I don't know. Noah was the one about, was that Russell Crowe? As Noah's Ark. I never saw Black Swan either. Like, maybe I would check out Black Swan. That looks kind of interesting. I don't know. I can't even, you know, like Paul Thomas Anderson, there's a number of fucking movies the guy's made where you're like, damn, this is just like a big, he took a big swing and he just like Boogie Nights, There Will Be Blood. I mean, Magnolia is a big movie. Darren Aronofsky, you're like, okay, he made Requiem for a Dream. I mean, The Wrestler, it's kind of like ironic. You know, it's like sincere and ironic at the same time. You know, it's like, oh, wouldn't it be funny to make a movie about like the guy who wrote it like writes for The Onion or something. You know, so it's like, oh, wouldn't it be funny to make a movie about like sort of a fucking washed up like WWF wrestler, like Jake the Snake. Like, it didn't really seem, as a wrestling fan, you know, it was definitely realistic, and they knew about wrestling, but I also just thought it was like, the story was kind of a cliche. Like all boxing movies are all kind of about that. Some old guy trying to do it one more time. Mickey Rourke. Todd Barry's in the fucking movie for some reason. I think he grew up somewhere near Midwood. I'm sensing Midwood. Maybe, I don't know. I'd like to watch Black Swan. I don't think Ashley would watch it, but I'd definitely be interested to see that. Too Jewish. That's my take. The old Hollywood adage, there are no movies that are Jewish, there's only movies that are too Jewish. Maybe I shouldn't say that on the internet. Black Swan, okay. It's sort of like wannabe Kubrick, it feels like. I don't know, I don't like Jared Leto. I don't really like Marlon Wayans. Ellen Burstyn is okay. I think she was nominated for an Oscar for that movie. You know, like, I don't really love his casting a lot of the time. I don't know. To Brooklyn. It just feels like, it just reminds me too much of being in Brooklyn. The people that were cool in Brooklyn when I first got there, they were all kind of like bald guys with sort of like faint mustaches. They wore those stupid baseball hats with like the huge bills. They just gave Coastal Dad. They wore boat shoes. Everybody was wearing boat shoes. Maybe I'll do 10 more minutes. I'll do 2 hours. Well, my fucking phone hasn't, the battery's doing pretty well, so maybe I'll keep going. Slow. Oh, this restaurant is called Amelie. I was more into the whimsical twee side of indie film. You know, I was such a huge Wes Anderson fan. Wes Anderson was like he was like the Beatles. When I was in high school and college, you know, the Wes Anderson movies were like, oh fuck, here's another classic album. Or like, I don't know, he set the aesthetic in a lot of ways. Those fucking Zissou hats. Everybody was wearing those stupid Zissou hats. They all wanted to, you know, there was like a deadpan quality to it. They all wanted to be on the crew of the fucking Calypso or whatever the fuck. Whatever Zissou's ship is called. Ironic mustaches. I hated all of it. I hated ironic mustaches. I hated twirly mustaches. Okay, what the hell else do I need to talk about? I got 20% battery left. Thank you guys for watching. This journey, this has been an epic journey across New York, across Manhattan, across the culture. Oh God, what else? This is not, it's not happening organically. There was some fucking kind of memory. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about my dad was a flower delivery driver. Ashley got flowers the other day, so we had to fuck with like the delivery driver. And a memory surfaced from my childhood. I know people love hearing about this. My dad was a flower delivery driver. In addition to being a musician and a psychedelic journeyman. He was a flower delivery. I guess that was part of being a psychedelic journeyman, being a flower delivery driver. When we were kids, we would help our dad. This was before fucking GPS. Back in the 90s, you had to use map books. My dad had these fucking map books, right? So we would be the navigator, he would drive. And we would look up the addresses. We'd have 30 fucking flowers in our back seat. You know, in the Astro van, he had a series of minivans. He had an Astro van. Oh, they were so great. We'd just keep them out in the parking lot. They were like sheds. He'd keep his equipment in there, music equipment, and then he'd drive the other one. So we'd pick up all these flowers. He'd pay us, he'd pay us to help him. It was how we earned money as a kid. So we'd drive around, we'd go pick up these flowers. We'd have a whole garden in our back seat. It was like a funeral home. We'd always be taking flowers to funeral homes. You know, you'd go in the back of a funeral home to like drop the flower off. You'd be like, I hope I don't see any dead people. I don't see anybody getting embalmed. Or a hospital, dropping them off at the hospital. The hospital, they have like a flower room. Well, the thing is, having a kid, he could pull up like in a loading zone and put his lights on, and we'd either stay in the car, or we could keep an eye on things, or we'd run the flower in, And people are always happy when you give them flowers, Not that I really had that much interpersonal interaction, but it was like it's like a poet job, being a flower delivery man, bringing that fragrance, that beauty into people's lives. How wonderful. How poetic. Just bringing positivity, bringing love, messages of love, condolence, get well soon. People sending each other flowers. How wonderful. And so we drive around all day on Saturday, listen to NPR, listen to fucking Click and Clack, or Garrison Keillor, Prairie Home Companion. The women were pretty, the men were tall, and the children were all above average. And fuck Garrison Keillor. And fuck Lake Wobegon. And fuck the Prairie Home Companion. But we listened to it when I was a kid. In the 90s, NPR, baby. Wait, Don't Tell Me. Fresh Air, Terry Gross. Where are Terry Gross freaks at? Where are my Terry Gross heads at? Terry Gross basically invented podcasting. I mean, those interviews, come on. Is there anybody better than Terry Gross? Does anybody get deeper and get more out of the in silence than Terry Gross? I think she does those in Philadelphia. I'm pretty sure Terry Gross is in Philadelphia, which is crazy. Like, do these people go to Philadelphia to talk to Terry Gross? Does Gene Simmons go to Philadelphia? You know, does Elvis Costello go to Philadelphia to talk to fucking Terry, to be on Fresh Air? You know, Charlie Rose, they were talking about Charlie. I was watching this, I didn't get that far into it. There was a podcast with Anna Kay from Red Scare. She was talking about Charlie Rose. Where my Charlie Rose head's at. I don't know if was Charlie Rose really that good at interviewing people? I feel like it was more about his background. Just that black background was so iconic. You know, the Charlie Rose theater, the theater of Charlie Rose is so memorable. I guess the fact that he was even able to get interviews with all of these people. He's able to talk to Bill Murray or Salman Rushdie or Larry David or Idi Amin or whatever, you know. Norman Mailer. You know, we need to bring back the serious New York chat show. I really want to do like a Dick Cavett, Jack Parr, Merv Griffin style, Fresh Air style. I don't know. I'm trying to amp up my productivity and get back to being a part of the world again. And, you know, making my stand-up comedy career take off. No, fuck comedy. I gotta go back to poetry. I gotta get into an academic. Somebody help me get into an academic thing quickly. Let me teach open mic poetics. I'll teach a whole unit. I mean, I guarantee you, the thing is, we're already doing what teachers are supposed to do. You know, like people come in to the open mic, maybe it's their first time reading anywhere ever, maybe it's their first time being on stage ever, and they get the bug, and they start coming every week, and they start going to other open mics, and they start writing, so they have stuff to read. You know, the thing about an open mic is it's a deadline, right? Like, it's the easiest way to give yourself a deadline. That's what writers are always looking for. They're always looking for a deadline. They need a deadline. They're never going to finish the thing unless they have a deadline. And the open mic, I mean, I'm always reading new stuff. And so that's become like a part of my process. It's just like new every time. Which I don't know if that, well, so I did get a positive feedback at the open book thing. I was surprised. I did my reading. It went pretty well. I didn't like crush. To be honest, I'm kind of afraid to crush in a room I've never been in. You know, if I'm at somebody else's open mic and they have a nice scene, I think it's like bad manners. It's bad manners to go in and like destroy. It's like I wanted to do good, but I didn't want to freak anybody out. I didn't want anybody to be like, wow, that guy was nuts. He was super baked and he was like aggressive and yelling. That was weird. So I didn't smoke. I just wanted to be chill. I didn't want to give anybody a weird vibe. I didn't want to try to steal the fucking show or anything. So I did my reading. It went pretty well. I rushed a little bit. If you watched the video on TikTok, I rushed. But I got a couple people came up to me as soon as the break hit, hitting on me. Quite frankly, this girl comes up to me and she's like, she points to this tattoo on her arm and she's like, you don't like people with tattoos? And then she like, I don't remember what she said, but she like pointed to her tattoo or something. I'm like, okay. And then this other girl came up and interrupted us. And she's like, I don't remember what the fuck she said. She had been banned from open mic. She told me she got banned from some open mic in Connecticut because her material was like too sexual or something. So I was like, okay, well, I'll probably really get along with this person then. If they're getting banned from open mics, I don't meet people too often that are getting banned. It's usually just me. But in any case, I passed out some flyers to promote the Monday thing. So I'm an ambassador. You know, I want to be an ambassador of performance. And you just have to go to everything. You just have to go to everybody's shows. That's like your social life, you know? That's where you hang out with your friends. You go to their shows, you know? Go to comedy shows, go to poetry readings, go to open mics. Because then you can refuel your ego at the same time at the open mic. Well, I don't know. It's good to... It's, you know, to be honest, at the Uncalculated thing, it was nice to just be in the audience. It was nice to not have to perform, actually. The fact that I could just go to the show and watch and just sort of observe and see it, like, done properly. You know, I going to these open mics at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I really don't think is a good way to start. Well, I was talking to Joe Levy about this. He likes coming late at Easy Paradise. He always shows up at, like, midnight because he likes doing open mics late. And there's very few left, especially in Manhattan. There's really not too many late night open mics. All the late night culture in Manhattan basically dried up. You know, it's all just go to an open mic at 3 p.m. You know, this one at Rodney's, the sign up was at 4:30. The mic started at 5. It's like, I guess that's a little better, but it's still weird. Like, who's funny at 3? You know, like, I'm going to get on stage and, like, kill at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Like, it's stupid. It makes no sense. There's something about comedy that, like, the later at night, the darker it is outside. It's like this confidential, you know, like, hey, we're here. I'm telling you guys the straight shit. Outside is crazy place, right? But we're safe kind of by the hearth, right? He had an interesting thing. He said, Joe Levy, he's like, because, you know, you go out in the world during the day. You go out in the world, shit happens to you. Then you go at night to the club and you talk about it. It's like, yeah, exactly. Rather than doing an open mic at 3 p.m. with a bunch of guys from fucking New Jersey or Connecticut or something. A bunch of Kevin James lookalikes. I'm amazed that Kevin James has such status in our culture. I mean, I'm not that, you know, maybe I shouldn't talk shit about him because I haven't seen that much of his work. But Kevin James is, like, pretty big. I'm sure he's very wealthy. And his stuff, like that fucking thing about God bless America, God bless our truth. Like, he's like a minion or something. I don't know. There's something about Kevin James. I think Gen Z loves Kevin James. Start your engines! That's like a super meme. That's all over fucking TikTok. Is that propaganda? I guess it is. That's very patriotic. It's like hyper-patriotism. Start your engines! He just did it at the Mets game. That's why I'm talking about it. He recreated his meme. You know, these memes are so, like, they're I guess they do, like, the context is he's at NASCAR or something. He's introducing NASCAR. So you know what the context is. But they recontextualize it as it's just like this soundbite that plays over, like, hyper-patriotic 4th of July. You know, like, I saw it a lot during 4th of July. Over, like, montages of, like, this is shit that America's badass. You know, we got fucking... Yeah, that's right.
Hey, what up?
Skibbity.
Ohio! Ohio!
That's right. See, I learned from those other guys. That was crazy. They knew exactly what I was talking about. Did you hear that? Did you fucking hear that?
I want to see a pose.
How did they know fucking... I guess that's obvious. Skibbity, Ohio. There you go. Whatever the fuck that means. Just something we all yell at each other. Well, it's like these memes are almost like just an in joke. It's almost just like a secret. It's like an inside joke that people on TikTok think that they are like a part of this cool thing that they know about, and if you don't know about it, you just don't know about it. You don't know about Kevin James meme, you know? You don't know about Skibbity Ohio toilet or whatever. You don't know about, not that that's a TikTok thing. People get really excited when they see that you're streaming. There was some guy streaming. I went over to Sutton Place, so I was like over on that new Esplanade earlier, and there was a guy who had a fucking selfie stick who was talking into his camera, and I'm like, game recognized game. It's like the Highlanders, you know? We kind of see each other. Okay, I see you. I see you, buddy. Fellow. We're living in the future with our selfie sticks, using the city as our Pokemon Go soundstage for the endless movie of real life, which is the most fascinating one of all. I mean, this is like a Richard Linklater movie every time you do it. Every time I do a live stream, it's like a new waking life slacker. Have people seen The Cruise? I can't recommend The Cruise enough. If you haven't seen The Cruise with Speed Levitch, directed by Bennett Miller, it's one of the best New York City movies. I think we've talked about The Cruise before. But it's probably on YouTube. I'm sure it's available free. Tubi is great, I gotta say. I did see a TikTok video about this, and I do want to comment on it, because Tubi has captured my attention with the quality of what they're doing. Tubi is what Netflix like started as, where it was like, it's all, content libraries. So it's good movies from it's, Jim Belushi movies, The Principal, K9, or, there's all kinds of shit on there. Big Trouble. I think maybe, did we watch? There's some Cassavetes movies on there. I don't remember. There's all kinds of shit on Tubi. And you don't even have to have a fucking account. Like I've never signed in. I don't have a fucking password. I'm so over all the goddamn passwords. Like, can't we figure out another way to do this? Like, do I have to remember, my mother's maiden name, my childhood pet name, every time I want to fucking log into, anything? Every time I want to log into, Max, and I can see fucking commercials during Curb Your Enthusiasm, even though supposedly it's a streaming service. I'm paying for a streaming service, and then there's commercials. What's the deal? What's the deal with that? Skibbity Ohio toilet. See, they just said it. I don't know what's going on with the Skibbity thing. What the fuck? It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Everybody's just, it is brain rot. It's like these terms don't mean anything other than the fact that they're like vectors of our communication on TikTok. Skibbity. I'm from Jersey, baby, and you're not. Like that, no one will even know what that is 6 months from now. No one will know what that is. People probably don't even know what it is now. It's something that people will be doing on TikTok for like the next few days. It's almost like Saturday Night Live catchphrases or something. They would create Saturday Night Live characters that would have these kind of catchphrases like "Sim it down now" or "making copies," the Greg Meister or whatever. It's like now those characters are real people. They're on TikTok, like Hawk Tuah. 20 years ago, Hawk Tuah would have been an SNL character. It would have been Kristen Wiig or something, or Gilda Radner, or Jan Hooks, or Cherry O'Terry. They would have been Hawk Tuah. And that would have been a catchphrase, like Wayne's World Party Time. But now it's a real person. It's like you don't need the character. The real people are more character than the fucking character. You know, so life is sort of morphing into this film. And when we play characters in live, we live the part. I don't know, you can, that's almost a better, because it's self-realization. You become like Quentin Crisp or something. You know, you make yourself into this magnificent object. I think that's what we're displaying at open mic. We go on stage and we show ourselves, you know, like we're a statue. Just the living exhibit of, here's me and my work or whatever. And that's what TikTok, you know, that's our product now. We are the product, right? We have to make ourselves marketable and irresistible to people. And through social media profiles, through TikTok profiles, through YouTube pages, whatever the fuck. DistroKid, Depop, whatever your kink is. What's your pleasure? We're at the Dive here, these legendary college bars. School is almost back in session at Columbia, so all the annoying fucking rich people are back. All the, you know, people in college just have an arrogance. That's what I don't like about academics. People give them credence and deference, like, oh my God, you're a professor. You know, women are especially impressed by that. You know, if you're a professor, that's status. That's what, you know, that means something. It means you're validated. It means you've been vindicated. It means you're real. You're not just some open mic loser. You're a professor. Wow. And so they're very arrogant and they feel very assured in that. And I don't like that because they're not in the real world. A lot of these people are worse writers. You know, if you've been in college your whole life, or even these people that get published in major, you know, a lot of them are bad writers. Just because you're fucking published in some huge thing or some magazine or whatever. It's like those people never got out of college. They all went to boarding school. I keep seeing these TikToks. Every fucking cool person in the culture went to boarding school. Lana Del Rey, The Strokes, Vampire Weekend, they all went to fucking boarding school, which is different than public school. If you went to public school, you're put in there with animals. You know, I had this conversation, I'll end on this, with a woman in Vermont about her kids. She wanted to, you know, she didn't want them to go to public school because in private school, the things that are considered cool are like if you're smart, if you're artistic, you know, if you're creative, if you're talented. That's like makes you a cool kid at like a boarding school. Whereas like public school, it's like, it's not like that at all. It is like a reality show. It's like being on Love Island or something, and you're just the biggest loser. You're just the loser. You're nobody. You know. It's like being on fucking Survivor. You know, Grandview Heights, Thomas Jefferson High School. All right. Well, I'm gonna get a sandwich. Fuck the academics. Fuck Columbia. Fuck the credentials. Long live the open mic heroes. Long live the fucking outsiders, the rebels, the scum fucks, the truth tellers, the wild things. Born to be wild, baby. Come out to the Labor Day telethon next Sunday. We are kicking them in the nuts every fucking second. We are kicking maximum ass. We will blow your fucking mind at this show. Come out. It's a rooftop show. Go back, watch my whole live streams. I did a whole thing through Central Park. I love you all. You are a beautiful audience. Skibbity Ohio Toilet. Skibbity Toilet Riz. Skibbity, skibbity, skibbity. I'm looks maxing. I'm mewing. I'm mogging. We know your terminology, okay, Gen Z? For some reason, we're obsessed with it. We're obsessed with your slang, and we're ruining it. The old people are ruining it for you. So we'll talk to you soon. We love you, and good night, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Check out my other content.